of online training for myself, Mark Artwright. This afternoon we're going to look at engaging your students. So let's jump in. First of all, just a brief introduction to myself. I'm Mark, as I just kind of said. I'm professional development for Smart, so any support I can be, I'm actually implementing it, and actually a bit more training if you like. Then feel free to reach out either at each email or on Twitter as well if you want to for that there. So our objectives today, very much looking at the engage. How can we make engaging resources for the students? How can we get hold of engaging resources with our students? How can we make our lessons, rather than something passively viewing, that they're a part of, they're engaged in, really kind of play an active role within their lessons? One kind of analogy that I always use is a school pencil. If you hand them one from the school, it's like, yes, they'll enjoy that one, they can use it, but actually if they're bringing their own, they've got that love of that, and actually, oh, it's mine, and fantastic. So if we can make their learning their own as well, then they can be really part of it and have that kind of experience for that as well. So let's look at engaging resources. Let's look at some individual handouts. How can we change these pages so that they are collaborating on it on their devices as well, or if you want to be using it on screen, and then some collaboration for that as well. So let's jump out of Smart Notebook and let's jump into a web browser, any web browser, and this piece of software here is Loomio. So Loomio, to go to the website, you get a free trial of it anyway, but at Loomio, LUM.io, and you can use that on there. And then once you're in here, you can see here is just a kind of my list of lessons. This is fully integrated with Microsoft Teams as well as Google Classroom, and you'll be able to bring your resources either into Loomio or just play them straight from within there as well. So looking at these lots of different resources, looking at engaging resources, to be able to start your lesson, start of all, you can add an activity. And if I'm adding an activity, if you've got that pre-made content from previous ways of teaching it, you can bring that straight in. Whether that's a PDF, a PowerPoint, a notebook file, or of course Google Slides, you can bring those straight there and import them. That's either from local storage, from in your library, which is your Loomio library, or if you've connected your G Drive, you'll be able to have them straight from there as well. There's lots of other resources you can search for resources there, or you can start new lessons with some great ready-made activities, some great templates and graphic organizers down here, or just starting it from afresh with a blank page. So that's importing your own lessons and bringing them there, and then once you're in there, there's lots of different ones in here. So essentially, why do we want to be able to teach from this website as opposed to just delivering them from the content that we've already got already? So I'm just going to bring some of these ones up on here. For an example, one of the ones that I found in here was a lesson on photosynthesis. And one of these ones here, to be able to actually make it engaging for the students, yes, I can just display it on my large screen up on here, or I can display it through Teams or Google Meet or whatever it might be. And then once I've got in here, as I go next here, it's just as you'd normally expect, it's going to go next through the lesson here. But what I can also do is actually engage the students as well. So if I bring up a student browser here, and if there's, for the students, they go to hellosmart.com. So this can then be on their devices, whether they're in class, out of class, wherever it might be. And if I have that as the student side, and then this as the teacher side here. If they've got a Microsoft credentials, they can sign in there, or of course Google ones, or they can join as a guest. And then here it's going to give me my class ID. So the students have gone to hellosmart.com, and this is your class ID here. This is then linked to your Smart account, 162353, and then that'll be exactly yours. Whether it's your free trial or whether you've got the full software of Smart, there's only one package of software for Smart regarding teaching and learning, and then you can have that and you can get going with that there. So if you've already got that subscription, you can use it already in there. If you haven't, we can sort you out a free trial or continue it and sort that out as well. So student-wise, they've put their name, they've put the class code in, which is the class code, put my name in for that there. So it's now not just that PowerPoint, not just that notebook file, not that Google Slides or a PDF. It's actually, as I go next here, it makes it more engaging for the students because they're coming with it as well. I can come back up to the top, I come through there, and if I want to add any kind of annotating to this bit here, circling the plant as a teacher there, the students are engaged because they can actually see what they're talking about, rather than me just pointing to something on the screen and not being able to see it or hovering my cursor over something. I can make any points here, make the annotations, or even just kind of add labels or anything to that there, and the students are going to be able to see that as well. Also within Loomio, we've got these activities. Now this one here, as the teacher, I've changed this to a collaborative workspace. To change it to a collaborative workspace, click on the people at the top here, and then you'll get a box popping up saying change to collaborative workspace. And that means that now we're in, the teacher can put us into different groups. So I can set this up. So then as a teacher, I'm setting it up, I'm changing it from that static content to very much an interactive work page. And then we can, just because there's only one student already, we can put everyone in one team. And then from here, we've got the collaboration. You can see that it's then beginning to load for the students. Now the students in their collaborative groups can add any comments to where they want to in here, and the teacher can see those comments being added, and they can actually see who those comments are being added by. So we've got that, the way of actually tracking who's doing what within that as well. And then they can add different bits and pieces within there as well. And you've got that collaboration wheel on the page, really making it an engaging experience for the students here and actually being part of it. And also in the same document, if you like. It's just one link that the students have to click on, and there's all their lessons. It's the teaching side of it, it's the interaction with it, it's making the engagement with it, and then the activities and stuff, the assessments were all kind of built into that one lesson rather than jumping in and kind of losing the track of it as well. So looking at that, just mentioning games-wise, if I move on to this one here, moving down the lesson, as a bit of vocabulary practice. So again, this is a quick game of matching activities. So I can either play it to the student device or on the teacher's device. And then I can put this on here or wherever these bits and pieces can go on there as well. And that's the wrong one, so I can put that one and make sure that's correct here. So again, it's a way of interacting with it. It might just be talking it through, but actually if you can get the students to actually engage with it and be part of their learning, then it's fantastic for them to actually take it on board. They're learning whilst they're doing, rather than learning just while they're watching, which is a much better way of learning. So as a teacher side of things now, I'm just going to jump out and look at some of these other lessons. So these are lots and lots of different ones within here as well, and these can all be found within the Explore the Resources here. So if I just click on Explore Resources, you can see that within here there's lots and lots of different ones. There's that motivation one that I had at the beginning there. There's in the connections that matter, there was the photosynthesis one there, and you can see that you can search for resources, whichever ones you want to look for, particularly at your at the moment it does say grade level. So if you take add on a level, so that's our year one, that's our year, so this will be our year two, that'll be our year three. But you can explore those and just explore your resources within there, and there's lots of different ones, as well as some really nice themed ones. These featured ones do change throughout the year, so you can kind of see ones, obviously winter ones at the moment, and lots of different ones within the hair, as well as some good kind of lessons for the bits and pieces, one on equivalent fractions there, obviously, as you can see. And then if I come back, these are some different ones within here. So even if it's just setting a piece of homework, for example, this multiplication one, go away and practice, have a bit of a play with things. Yes, there's some fantastic websites that you can use and you can send the students to, but actually if you want to home it down a little bit more, you can send out activities like this one here. This one being just a card maths. So it might be that you've got two cards, you're flipping them over, you're creating a times tables. So let's just choose two and then it's times them together. I can have 4 and 4 times together. I've obviously got 16, and then I've got lots and lots of different games within here as well. Let's just have a look at this rank order here of these operations. And of course, as I start it for the students, the pupils can actually play that as well. So that is in class or out of class for that as well. And you can see here that I can actually click on that and expand it and make it bigger. And then I've got to actually order these in actual order of size, putting them on there as well. Obviously, I'm working them out as well. But at the moment, this is just kind of looking at teacher paced. How can I send this out? How can I have that live lesson, that synchronous lesson? But actually, if I end this lesson now, what I can do with all of these is send them out to students. So like I said, this one as a bit of a practice, if I click on this 3 dots here, I can share a link. Now that I'm sharing a link, if I've made this lesson, I can share it with teachers, so the teachers can actually practice that one and they can teach it themselves. Or actually, sharing it as a student, there's a link here. Now I can copy and paste that link and send it to anybody, anywhere, whether that's through Seesaw, through Canvas, through Google Classroom, through Microsoft Teams, through any kind of class dojo. I can't just rattling a few off the top of my head. Whichever one you are choosing to send out students so they can do it on that asynchronous without you being live, that's a fantastic way of doing that, and then they can access all of those bits and pieces as well. Where the all the games, all the activities, all the YouTube videos that are advert free, those can all be sent out through that as well. And that those collaborative spaces need to start together, but the individual handouts, those ones you can make, and they can be doing those individually at any time for that on there. If I just jump into one here, if we're looking at this winter poetry, just so we can see here that if we click on the people here, this is how we change it. So change it to a collaborative space when we work together, or an individual handouts, so that each child has got their own one and they can actually work from that on their own space for that as well. So let's end that lesson. Let's jump back into Smart Notebook. So we've looked at creative individual handouts, we've looked at collaborative spaces as well, all using those engaging resources, whether it's the ones you've got already or bringing new ones in for that one as well. And it's just trying to get them to play with it and getting them to use it as well. Those games that we've looked at today, we've just kind of briefly looked at how to play them. If you go back to the previous one within this session as well, the next one down on the YouTube list, you'll be able to see how to kind of create those games and work and all the benefits of lots of different ones as well, and where they are available. Just as a point, they are available in Smart Notebook through this Space Invader at the top here, and equally within Lumio, if you go to add an activity, they are available through that Space Invader there, the game-based activities through that as well. So, kind of challenge for you is see how you can use those. Can you use some of those resources? Can you include some of them individual handout or the collaborative workspace as well? To actually really make your lessons engaging for the students. Planning ahead to next term for those bits and pieces as well. I'd love to hear more about them, either sharing the hashtag WeAreSmart on any social platform that you wish to, or of course if you want to email me directly, then feel free to do so for that as well. Just as a note for you've got bits and pieces for all the different social medias, just a great big professional learning network where we can begin to share and learn from each other, which is a great place to be for that as well. So if there are any other questions, just pop them in the chat, pop them in the comments below, and we can kind of be in touch in that way. Or if you want to email me directly, markhartright@smarttech.com. So as we look forward to next term already, 2022, we're continuing these Ready, Set, Smart webinars with a slightly different feel, with the Little and Often webinars, and that's going to be continuing to run throughout the year, but these are just highlighting the first few every 2 weeks for this as well. So if you do want to join live, I'll leave the link below so you can sign up for these. That is the link, yeah, it's a bit.ly, smart, little and often, but the smart is in capital letters for that as well. And then these are the next 3 sessions that we're going to look at in the year. Looking at new hardware, new software, and how do I get started with that. Looking at Lumio, how can we transform the lessons into that more active style, which is a bit like we've looked at today. And then we're going to dive into Smart Notebook as well, and how can we really transform it into make that active learning when you're using Smart Notebook, this piece of software here as well. So if there are any other questions that do pop up, like I said, please pop them in the chat and we'll be in touch as soon as we can. But thanks so much for viewing, and we'll hope you have a great holiday, hope you have a great Christmas, and I'll see you next year. Many thanks.